cut that off a little early, but I promised you that there'd only be one more. There would be no more snow. Okay, no more snow scenes. And then I got to making this new standby video, and I realized that I didn't have enough footage. I needed a full at least 10 minutes of footage, and I was like, I can't do this. So it'll be another day. Yoshi! Wait a minute. I wonder if that's the Yoshi I know. Anyway. Oh no, I'm thinking Yoni. Never mind. I am here ready to talk and ready to do the normal thing. There's a lot of effery. Can't use swear words in the first 10 minutes of video, in the first 10 minutes of stream, even though I'm well into 10 minutes. But just to be safe, I'm not going to for 10 minutes. But a whole bunch of effery going on. And, when I say the hits just keep coming, well, of course they do. So we're going to have a great show today. The thumbnail has a stupid tweet by Kristen Gillibrand, which is kind of redundant because it is Kristen Gillibrand. And then a whole lot of Biden stuff. Biden's just giving money out to everybody. And also Andrew Cuomo's giving out a little money. I'll tell you about that. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. A little update on the Chauvin trial. You know the deal. You know the thing. So we'll get into that right after the intro. Johnny, play the intro, please. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. Stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is, what's the date? It's Thursday, FTG Thursday. You know how that works. If you don't know what FTG is, ask somebody in the chat and say it is the 8th of April, 2020, the day my car payment's due. So I'm going to make my car payment today and like a good boy, because I want to keep my credit good, because, got to have good credit. And it's also the 569th episode of the Morning Night Live. That means, well, we're not going to talk about 69. I also have my cup of reparations coffee in the brand new. What is this? Our first sponsor of the day. Well, hang on, because you're hiding my thing there. You know the thing.
You know the thing.
You're hiding my what I was doing. Thank you, Lamented Guide. Hi, long time no see, no doubt. So, thank you, Lamented Guide, for speaking us. The first sponsor of the show today. You can do that through Streamlabs in the description down below, or it'll come up in the chat, or you can do YouTube SuperChats or whatever. Those items, I will talk to that. Verbalize your message on the air. And if you don't want to do that, I also have Venmo and Cashapp down in the description down below. It may take me a day to disseminate that message, but I will definitely thank you. Also, thank you for all the people who sponsored the show during the year. In the new outro, I've updated the the Streamlabs Superstar donors so far this year. And, and I was showing you the cup because I have the cup. And, oh, shoot, is that, okay, a little green there. I got the new cup. I don't know if you can see that because of the glare. Let's put it closer. Is that working? Where's that? There you go. That's the cup. You can get that on at PDawgKnight.live in the merch tab, the Resist Fascism cup. And it's filled with a nice warm cup of reparations. That is so good. That is so good. All right. Thank you, Lamented Guide, for sponsoring the show today. Please, if anyone else want to sponsor the show, feel free. I got a car payment to make. All right, let's say good morning to everyone in the chat, though. In the chat first today was our friend Becca Fairley, who also tweeted out the link before I did. Thank you. In fact, Did I fail to? I didn't even think I put out the link today. Oh my gosh. Well, we'll do some back end work while I'm talking to you and saying good morning to everybody. Also, good morning to our friend from down under. That would be Richo. How you doing, my friend? Also, good morning, Select a Boy.
Yeah, boy.
And let's see who else is here. We've got Renee Mayette. Hello. Good morning, Mike Savage. Blarg. Good morning, Ronan Wolf. And Maddie, of course, the trucker pair. And also, good morning, Ashley Mented. Welcome, welcome. Now, I don't know if I've seen your name here before. Unless you changed the name or something. But hello, I'm glad you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Also, good morning, Somnambule Nation, FTW Nil. Let's see, who else is here? Oh, and some of you like the change of music in the pre-standby, and some of you made fun of me, but that's okay. That's going to be the music for the new standby as soon as I complete it today. Also, good morning, Jonathan Peterson. Good morning, Dumb Beard. Good morning, MC.
Stop. Hammer time.
Also, good morning, Yoshi the Macabre. And let's see, I'm going to keep going down here. Tarai Deos, Tyler F., Evil Clipazine, nice to have you back. Also, good morning to Teresa the Kid. Ost San is in the house, and the hits keep coming, and they don't stop 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 coming, and they don't. Wow, you got that in there several times. Also, good morning, Drew W. Good morning, is in the house. Good morning, Sean D.W. Good morning, Jonas Pedersen. That's good morning, Advocatus Diabli, the devil's advocate, and of course that's where the chat jumps. Let me make sure I get everyone in here. Also, good morning to Attack Alpaca, Jaded Emerald, the pissed off Shih Tzu. Do not piss off the Shih Tzu. Also, good morning to Katie Did Skate. A numerous number of views in the house, 34 in the house, already 16 likes. I like that, but we'll do a simultaneous hit the like button thing in a couple minutes here while I'm trying to figure out what the hell I did with this notification, because I didn't even put it out. So I was busy doing other stuff. Actually, what I had to do, I had already finished my first cup of coffee, and so then I realized as I got bigger, I did not even do it. So is streaming live. Oops, not Livy, but live. Oops, not two L's. Gosh, boomer fingers. Now, exclamation point. And I got to put the link in it. You're just getting to see a little the back dirty work that we do on the show. We as in me, I produce my own show. And sometimes it's just, it doesn't always work out the way I intend to. So now I got to do it on all these other platforms too. Good God, why is my thumbnail not showing? That pisses me off. Hang on a second. So anyway, also, good morning. Always lost on nothing else. First time here, Monkey sent me, this will be interesting. Well, it shall be. Also, good morning, Spambot22. I see you. What the hell's going on with the damn thumbnail? Okay, it's there. All right, well, whatever. We'll be, okay, so copy. I know this is boring. If you're first time here, I hope you don't judge me by this first 5 minutes, because it's going to be a rough one. But I do have some great articles to show you. Well, great is relative, but it is okay, somebody in the chat explain FTG Thursdays for those who are new here, because yes, that is something that you'll have to understand as we go through the show. You'll be like, what's this FTG thing? Because somebody always asks, and that's okay, because we want you to be well informed of what we do. Notice I'm killing time here. I'm doing my best. Okay, got it on there. I'm just putting it on all. By the way, if you want to follow me on any social media, you can find me pretty much anywhere as @PDawgKnight, as it says right up there. You can also, except for Instagram. I've on Instagram, I am that Marty, because, well, I'm Marty, and that's how it is. So anyway, again, welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. All right, let's get into the news, because I think I'm done here. All right, that, and just close these windows, because now, other thing, if you're new here, as I do news stories during the show, I also always, at the end of the show, during the outro, I put a link in the tab to any of the things I highlight on this stream. And if you want to find those articles for something you're doing, or want to use it as a reference, or you want to make a video and you hear that story and you want to go, hey, where did you get that? There will be a tab, a link in the description down below. That one click gives you all the stories on one page. So you will be able to find that, and I'll make it easy for you. Also, let's do a couple more hellos. Good morning, Hyman Lyman. And good morning, Lunatic, a.k.a. You're a Ridiculous Lunatic. Good morning, Sean DW. And I think I got everybody. All right. Gotta watch Steven Crowder. See ya. Yeah. And good morning, Thomas Cleaver. Yeah, Crowder, I've been doing this show for over 2 years. And then all of a sudden, Crowder decides sometime in the middle of the summer last year that he's going to go at the same time I am. So anyway, never mind. 5 minutes till he does it. He's late. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. One of the most ridiculous tweets that I saw yesterday. Oh, no. Was it this morning? No, it was yesterday. It was just yesterday. So Joe Biden has proposed this monstrous 3 trillion? I don't know. Just ridiculous bill that he's calling an infrastructure bill, right? And so now, and we've already said that very little of this bill is actually dedicated to infrastructure, right? Because there's, when you think of infrastructure, you think roads, bridges, power grid, things like that. And I'll get into an article that tells you how little of that is actually going to those types of things. Good morning to Ideos. And so that's the criticism of the bill right now, right? And of course, there's Biden fanboys out there saying, oh, everything in that bill is infrastructure, blah, 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 blah. It's not. And then you have a U.S. senator, not one of our best and brightest U.S. senators, but she did run for president for God knows why. And so Senator Kirsten Gillibrand comes out and tweets this. Paid leave is infrastructure. Child care is infrastructure. Caregiving is infrastructure. This woman is a moron. Oh, there you go, Kirsten Jellybrain. Yeah. No. And that's funny because there's some people who tweeted behind her, Freckle Liberty. Lap my ass, bitch. No, they aren't. Here, Gad Sad says, violent crime is climate change. Open borders is climate change. Defund the police is climate change. People menstruate is climate change. Voting fraud is climate change. Sleeping with individuals other than one's spouse is monogamy. Sleeping with men when you are a man is heterosexuality. A penis is a type of vagina. Pregnancy is virginity. Virginity is promiscuity. And then our friend Cat Turd. A chair is infrastructure. Grass is infrastructure. A dog is infrastructure. The sky is infrastructure. Pretending to be liberal is fun. And then Ted Cruz. Abortion is infrastructure. Gun control is infrastructure. Forced unionization is infrastructure. Whatever the left wants is infrastructure. That's it. Whatever the left wants is infrastructure. He says only 5% of Biden's infrastructure bill is roads and bridges. So, Oh, goodness gracious. Something down here. Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, said he's willing to pay higher taxes to support President Biden's infrastructure plan, guessing GQP don't like the 12 million jobs it will create or the economic boon. You know what? Haven't we tried to fix the economy by focusing on infrastructure? Not that infrastructure is not important, but infrastructure creates nothing. It creates temporary jobs, and it takes money from Paul to rob Peter. Robs money for Peter to pay Paul. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, let's talk about the infrastructure bill that Joe Biden is providing, though, because Orwellian is not even close to what it is. But yes, PJ Media describes it aptly. Tyler O'Neill. Good morning, Gabriel Valine. How are you doing? So Biden redefines, and this is it. We're redefining terms in order to fulfill the Democrats' long-wanted agenda. And then they're going to try to, they're still trying to mess around with that filibuster. Although there's a couple Democratic senators who are saying, yeah, we're not going there because we know what happened the last time we made changes to Senate rules to make it easier for us to push through things we wanted. Oh, look at who we got in the Supreme Court now. Anyway, President Biden has a problem. That might be the understatement of the year. He wants to be a transformational president and has an absurd, ambitious, far-left agenda. But he has to deal with that pesky Constitution and the fact that Democrats only have razor-thin majorities in the House and Senate, even though they want to change some more rules and add a couple states to fix that. So in addition to issuing executive orders, how can Biden achieve his agenda? He can redefine basic terms in order to grease the skids for progressive change. Americans broadly support updating the country's infrastructure, so why not jam in a bunch of leftist priorities under the infrastructure umbrella? Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Jellyhead, Jellybean, Jellybrain, made the Orwellian redefinition of infrastructure explicit on Wednesday morning. Paid leave is infrastructure, childcare is infrastructure, caregiving is infrastructure, she tweeted, and then Senator Cruz explained what Gillibrand's tweet really meant, and there's only one of these that's even important. Whatever the left wants is infrastructure. Cruz used some hyperbole in the statement, but his tweet illustrated the Democrats' sleight of hand on the issue. Yes. It's a sleight of hand, all right. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention this.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Oh, that was you, Lamented Guide. You are the Superstar Donor of the Day. The Oxford Learner's Dictionary, which I'm sure after this article will be this definition will be edited by tomorrow. The Oxford Learner's Dictionary defines infrastructure as the basic systems and services that are necessary for a country or organization to run smoothly. For example, buildings, transport, and water and power supplies. And I would even possibly dispute the buildings part, although some government buildings are necessary, sort of. Oh, by the way, did I say good morning, Drew W? I did. Also, good morning, Mass Creation Broadcast. Good morning, Snoopy. Good morning, Furry Kitten. Nice to see you all. Cats and dogs living together. Oh my gosh, what's this world coming to? Anyway, politically, infrastructure refers to basic public goods like roads and bridges. According to a New York Times analysis, only 115 billion with a B of Biden's 2.25 trillion with a T infrastructure bill will go to roads and bridges. The bill marks 80 billion for passenger and freight railways, which, okay, to 25 billion with a B for airports and 17 billion with a B for waterways and ports. Now, these are traditional infrastructure items, and they add up to a mere 10.5% of the bill. A slightly more expensive definition of infrastructure may include $66 billion with a B for water systems and $45 billion with a B to eliminate lead pipes in some cities where they need to do that. Good morning, People's Front of Canada. And Attack Alpaca. And the $10 billion for federal buildings. Okay, they fix up some federal buildings and stuff. Okay, sort of. These items, along with the other more traditional infrastructure items, add up to $358 billion with a B, or 15.9% of the bill's cost. Of $2.5 trillion, 15.9% of the bill's cost to that expanded definition of infrastructures. Absolutely, Drew. These are shovel-ready jobs, right? Oh, of course they are. They as soon as they pass the bill, there's going to be hiring lines all over the place. I'm converting the truck horn into a clown horn. Anyway, most Americans support a government overhaul of America's roadways, railroads, bridges, and ports, but this represents less than 1/5 of the bill. The bill includes green handouts like $174 billion with the B for electric vehicle incentives. Wait a minute. Okay, raise your hand in the chat if you've seen any car commercials lately touting some car company's new electric vehicles. Anybody? Good morning, Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadians in the house. Have you seen anyone seen a car commercial featuring either electric cars or hybrid cars or flex fuel cars? Why do we need incentive for that if they're already making? There's already incentive. They're already making them. People are kind of buying them, although I probably won't for a while because I prefer a truck that I can drive 1,200 miles in one trip without only using gas stations. But anyway, always lost on nothing else. Good morning. How are you? Nice to see you. That's a new name. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Click that little bell thingy when it pops up. $174 billion for electric vehicle incentives? $100 billion for electric grid and clean energy. You know, if clean energy was profitable, if they might figure out how to do that themselves. But anyway, and I'm sure somebody's working on it. Some cost to update the grid may be necessary, but the clean energy emphasis carries baggage, you think? $46 billion for clean energy manufacturing and $35 billion for climate technology. Willard Forge, good morning. And you are absolutely correct. Unpopular fact on those lead pipes, Flint problems wasn't that they had lead pipes, which they could have replaced. It was Detroit getting pissy for Flint choosing to source their own water. Yeah, and also they had the wrong kind of filtration system or whatever to accommodate lead pipes, which caused major problems. All right. Anyway, good point, Willard Forge. Now, so those, and also, listen to this, and $35 billion for climate technology. The bill dedicates, listen to this. Now we're talking infrastructure, right? Infrastructure. The bill dedicates $400 billion to the in-home care for the elderly and those with disabilities. Now, I don't have a problem. Okay, so that takes up 17.8% of the bill, more than the traditional infrastructure costs, those items. Now, and look, if they want to have a bill dedicated to $400 billion to the in-home care for the elderly and those with disabilities, they can write a separate bill. That's not infrastructure. Now, and then let's see. Biden, now since I announced this plan, I've heard from my Republican friends, it's too big. They say, why not focus on traditional infrastructure? Fix what we've already got, the roads, the highways that exist, and the bridges. Biden said on Wednesday, he said, I'm happy to have that debate, but let me tell you my view. We are America. We're America. We just don't fix for today. We build for tomorrow. Oh, such a sloganing sentence. Perfect. You brain-addled fool. 200 years ago, trains weren't traditional infrastructure either until America made a choice to lay down tracks across the country. Highways weren't traditional infrastructure until we allowed ourselves to imagine that roads could connect our nation across state lines, he argued. Biden insists, well, what the hell is having elder care under infrastructure? That's never going to be considered infrastructure. I'm sorry. Biden insisted that infrastructure isn't a static thing, so he's going to redefine it. The idea of infrastructure has always evolved to meet the aspirations of the American people and their needs, and it's evolving again today, he argued. So what does infrastructure really mean? According to Biden, it boils down to whatever working people need, or rather, whatever Democrats say working people need. You know, before the pandemic, were wages rising and things were growing pretty good? And this whole infrastructure thing, crumbling roads and bridges. Yeah, there's some roads and bridges that need repair, but I'm kind of trying to figure out where they are. Some of you truckers probably could tell me where the worst roads are, but it seems though the worst roads are in the states that do the worst with their own infrastructure. In fact, a majority of infrastructure is state-run infrastructure, because as far as the federal-run stuff, the interstate stuff, I travel a lot. I really have very little trouble traveling on interstates. Obviously there's construction in the summer and they replace parts of roads and shit like that. But where the hell are this infrastructure they're talking about that's crumbling? Like the bridge in Minneapolis, that one that collapsed. Now that clearly wasn't because it was a crumbling road or bridge. It was because it was a design flaw that finally came back and bit us in the ass and whatever. But Michigan are horrid. Michigan, the interstate highways or the main roads? I'm just curious because, yeah, you guys travel a lot. Maddie, where Michigan are horrible, where else are they bad? I got to tell you, because I travel a lot, and although I haven't been to Michigan for a while. Now, city roads, that's where I see problems in a lot of cities I go to. And then you go, ooh, geez. But like, for example, when I was in Colorado earlier this year, great roads everywhere. The roads in the city, outside the city, the whole damn place, the roads were great. Now, in some of these cities like Michigan, where they have to salt during the winter, salt and the combination obviously causes issues with certain things. Melting water gets into cracks and this expands and it gets potholes and shit like that. I should know. I try to type shit when we are going through that state. Michigan interstates are the worst, with Indiana's interstates coming second. Okay. It's funny because even when last time I drove through Indiana, it wasn't that bad, but you would know, obviously, because you guys are on the long haul all the time. Anyway, so the new definition of infrastructure is whatever Democrats say working people need. He said, we need to start seeing infrastructure through its effort on the lives of working people in America. What is the foundation today that they need to carve out their place in the middle class, to make it, to live, to go to work, to raise their families with dignity? You know what? Just demagoguery. Oh, good Lord. To ensure that good jobs will be there for their kids, no matter who they are, what zip code they live in, he said. Well, those opportunities are are already there. I hate to break it to you, Joe, and it doesn't take the federal government to do it. What they want to do is they want to put your kids in Head Start, because Head Start's in this thing too. Which, what does Head Start have to do with infrastructure? Well, because Democrats say you need it, but infrastructure are physical things. That's a definition. In other words, Democrats claim that a government program helps working people, that's infrastructure to them. Perhaps Cruz was being a bit flippant to suggest that Biden would call abortion infrastructure, but according to this definition, the intentional killing of a baby in the womb might just foot the bill. If a woman gets pregnant before she plans to, and if she argues that she needs more time before she starts a family, then her abortion is infrastructure because it helps her future family. That's kind of the logic they're going with. And Democrats have used similar arguments to claim that the Hyde Amendment, which protects pro-life taxpayers from funding abortions, is racist.
That's racist!
Of course, Biden wants to redefine infrastructure in order to justify directing massive funds or sums to the climate industrial complex in the name of saving the earth from a predicted climate apocalypse that keeps failing to arrive on schedule. Climate alarmists first predicted global cooling, then global warming, now the vague threat of climate change. Biden has promised that America will face fewer natural disasters due to his presidency, based on the baseless claims that fossil fuels exacerbated recent fires, floods, and hurricanes. Now, you know what's funny? I wonder how long it's going to be before you're no longer allowed to even question the schedule of climate change, even though Miami's already supposed to be underwater 5 or 6 years ago from the rising oceans, because all the ice caps would be melted. Yeah, it's not underwater yet. In fact, the oceans have risen so much that Barack Obama bought a new $14 million house on an island. Brilliant. Anyway, climate alarmists first predicted global cooling, global warming, and now the vague threat of climate change. Biden has promised that America will face fewer natural disasters due to his presidency, based on the basis claim. Yeah, okay. Yes, because this is some Obama shit. My administration will help America face fewer natural disasters. You know what's weird? We've had fewer hurricanes over the last 20 years since they started predicting that there would be more hurricanes and more of this and more of that. Now, granted, we've had some that have caused devastation because, well, we've been having those since forever, but they've been fewer, farther between. Just saying. It almost lost and nothing else says. I bet Webster Dictionary will add another definition for infrastructure, just like they did for the word preference. Oh, absolutely. I'm surprised Merriam-Webster hasn't already changed their definition of infrastructure. They will, because of this bill. I guarantee it. Unpopular fact, we would not have so much infrastructure issues if funds supposedly appropriated for maintaining and improving infrastructure were not misused elsewhere. Oh, straight up. Willie Forge gets the smartest comment of the day. Well, so far. Also, according to more up-to-date models, there will be less hurricanes, but they will be stronger. That's what I've heard too. Anyway, thank you, Drew W., for sponsoring the show through YouTube Super Chat, who says, why do Dems always try to predict the future? Well, because if you predict the future, you can save the world from the future. Or something like that. They try. Anyway, Democrats are working overtime to pass massive handout bills, which what this is. First in the name of COVID-19 relief and now in the name of infrastructure. American people should see through the charade, although I got to tell you, most probably won't. Let's see. Our first FTG, at least in my mind, is Joseph Rahim Biden. and also FTG Kirsten Jellybrain. Thank you for whoever came up with the Kirsten Jellybrain name. That's absolutely perfect. Anyway, all right, let's move on. All right, I did that. Oh, I should check real quick. Let's do some thank yous real quick before I move on. Thank you, Tyler F. Thank you, Renee Mayette. Thank you, the Jack Cochran. And also Will It Forge for retweeting the show out from my tweet, and then also thank you Maddie Walker who always tweets out the show in the morning, and do a little like there on her, and also Jack Cocker beat me to the punch because Becca Fairley also tweets out the show, and I greatly appreciate those of you who share. The best thing you can do for me, if you want to help sponsor the show, it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. You can do it in simple ways. Share the show. Hit the share arrow down here, put it out on your favorite social media with your friends and family. And, or if you don't prefer to have your friends and family know your political ideas, well, just share it on wherever you share it. Reddit, Tumblr, wherever. Click a link, you can copy and paste it into 4chan or wherever you want to go. I don't care. Just share the show out. And then also, if you would be so kind, if you're watching a replay, or even if you're not watching a replay, come back and put a comment in the comment section just to tell me what you think. And then also, obviously, you can sponsor the show using dollars through YouTube Super Chats and through Streamlabs, which is the description down below. And it's right there. The link's right there in the chat. Oh my God. How'd that happen? Also, if you're interested, join our Discord server. A lot of mostly new stuff in the Discord. But I actually want to start using that a little more. So we might do occasional weekend chat, maybe once or twice a month in the Discord strictly. And we'll think of other ways to use that. I want to be a little more active in the Discord server. Richo, I shared you on Facebook. Nah, I'm just kidding. Got 12-day ban. Wait a minute, Richard, you got a 12-day ban on Facebook? I just can't imagine how that would ever happen. But I've seen so many people getting banned on Facebook, it's almost comical. All right, moving on. I want to talk a little bit just this last part because, there's been a lot of talk about Governor Ron DeSantis and the hit piece that 60 Minutes did. And it's interesting because, they want to talk about politicians and pay-for-play schemes and things like that. Well, this is an interesting article in the New York Post. Biden's $2 trillion pay-to-play plan for the unions. CBS 60 Minutes just got caught falsely accusing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis of a pay-for-play scheme, which raises the question of why major media aren't flagging the ginormous pay-for-play aspect of Joe Biden's $2 trillion infrastructure plan. Infrastructure, which dumps vast sums on the unions that helped elect him. It's an old scheme that runs both ways. Unions donate overwhelmingly to Democrats and help get out the vote, then get vast favors. Open Secret Records records $245 million in labor contributions in the 2020 cycle, with nearly 90% going to Democrats, up from $217 million in the 2016 cycle. The two biggest teachers unions spent $43 million alone. Again, I don't have a problem with private sector unions, okay, at all. Whether or not they are going to function or not, that's however they deal with private companies. And if they're trying to use it to negotiate better salaries or whatever benefits for their employees, there's a balance between the private company, which has to consider how it's going to function and profit and be able to keep their shareholders happy, and with the people who work and create whatever they do, there's a balance because the unions and the companies have a mutual what's the word? They have a mutual goal for the company to be going so that both the workers and the companies can profit and prosper, right? Well, that's not the same with public sector unions, like teachers unions. Your teachers unions pretty much are negotiating against your tax dollar. And the politicians who crave power and are more willing to give the teachers unions more money also get more money from the teachers unions. But they're not, the politicians aren't taking the money from profits from the company because the company, aka the government, doesn't produce anything without taking it from somebody else. So that's my reasoning for being against public sector unions. Unless their only function, so it's basically just a symbiotic relationship. Public sector unions know that Democrats will give them more of your taxpayer dollars. And so really they're going against, the teachers are negotiating against the taxpayers. And not just the teachers union, any public sector union. Nah, I don't like that. Anyway, so $43 million for the teachers union. That's just direct funding. The Service Employees International Union last year vowed to spend $150 million on get out the vote efforts for Democrats. Now, Biden's path to the White House ran through America's labor movement, crowed AFL-CIO President Richard Trumka. In return, Democrats give big labor new union-friendly laws and regulations and huge subsidies and overturned right-to-work laws. Biden's infrastructure, let me just do this correctly. Infrastructure plan is a huge payoff to his union backers. Its single largest line item is $400 billion for home care workers. What? That's infrastructure. While pushing them into the arms of the SEIU, which already represents nearly 1 million. Much of the rest of the $2 trillion goes for construction jobs that must either use union labor. Notice that not who's going to give you the best bid, but it requires union labor, or much the same thing, offer prevailing wages, which is basically a euphemism for union pay rates. And his plan explicitly says it'll spend money to promote union organizing and collective bargaining. Infrastructure. Biden also wants to take out right-to-work laws. Infrastructure in the 27 states that have passed them, forcing people to pay dues to unions they don't want to join. It's pay to play on a $1 trillion scale. But will anyone else in the media notice that? I doubt it. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, next. It could be, this whole show could be FTG Joe Biden, but that's up to you. You can pop it into the chat if you want. $40 million ain't much for USA, though. What are these pricks bitching about? Well, wait a minute. How did I get a hold of my sock? I'm going to have to change my sock when I get out of here. All right. Too much information. Next, now, for you non-Americans, you may not understand because this is such an American thing. But this whole the Biden administration has announced another executive order. See, everything Biden does right now has to be executive orders because he knows a lot of this shit wouldn't pass. Did I swear? Am I more than 10 minutes in? Okay, yeah, I'm good. A lot of the shit would not pass through the legislature. But here's Biden's newest announcement. Biden administration announces executive order crackdown on guns has a new anti-gun ATF director, aka the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. I've never understood why. That's really not a good combination. They always say the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. I don't know if those things really should be meshed together. But anyway, President Joe Biden announced on Wednesday evening the administration's new far-left executive order aimed at cracking down on the Second Amendment and the hiring of a new director of Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco and Firearms who comes from an anti-Second Amendment group. Perfect. Hello, Hig. How you doing? I don't think we know your socks. I just know, why does my toe feel weird? And I'm like, oh my God, my toe poked through the sock. So I didn't realize this, whatever. In a statement, the administration outlined the following initial actions in its attack on gun rights, which I got a feeling there's going to be an immediate lawsuit or something, immediate action in the Supreme Court on this, is because I don't think this is going to pass the muster. But anyway, and this is why they're going to add, this is going to be the reason that they decide they're going to find a way to pack the courts. You watch. You watch what happens, and they're going to regret it the next time the Republicans get into power. But here we go. The Justice Department, within 30 days, will issue a proposed rule to help them stop the proliferation of ghost guns. Really? This is going to be interesting. How do they propose that? The Justice Department, within 60 days, will issue a proposed rule to make clear when a device marketed as a stabilizing brace effectively turns a pistol into a short-barreled rifle subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act. FTG to my holy sock. Thank you very much, Austin. I appreciate that. The Justice Department, within 60 days, will publish model red flag legislation for states. In other words, trying to compel states to come up with red flag laws. In the chat, name the section of the Bill of Rights that may have issue with red flag laws. It's one of the first 10 amendments. Who can figure out which one that is? The portion of the statement that mentioned the stabilizing brace is referenced to AR and AK pistols, which have barrels that are shorter than the minimum 16 inches required by the National Firearms Act. The statement said that pistols with an arm brace are concealable, which doesn't really mean anything legally speaking, and is also laughable to most gun owners since many AR pistols are more than 2 feet long. The claim that weapons with the pistol brace will be subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act means that gun owners will likely be forced to pay a $200 tax. Of course, a tax, right? It's always a tax. Tax stamp on those firearms, which essentially amounts to taxing a group of people who are serious Second Amendment advocates and are largely opponents of Biden and his policies. Hello, Gun Fox. Welcome. Everyone say hi to Gun Fox. The Second Amendment. Well, there's that Second Amendment too. I was talking about the red flag legislation, though. Not just the Second Amendment, but also isn't the Fourth Amendment like illegal? What's the Fourth Amendment? What's the one with the just cause? Help me out there. Somebody knows what I'm talking about here. Now that my brain went Biden. Now, the statement said that the administration was investing in evidence-based community violence intervention. Anytime Democrats say investing, look out. They're investing in evidence-based community violence intervention in urban communities. The administration admitted that cities across the country, which are largely run by Democrats, are seeing a historic spike in homicides, which follows the push by some Democrats and far-left activists to defund the police. The statement said that the Department of Justice would release an annual report on firearm tracking. Hello, Chauncey. How you doing? Holy crap. Finally, the administration announced they will nominate David Chipman to serve as the director of the ATF. Hello, Brutus. Chipman worked at Giffords, which advocates for gun bans. CNN called Chipman a fierce advocate for gun control. Chipman locked his Twitter account so people cannot see what he has stated publicly. However, a comparison of online archives to his current account appears to be has deleted well over 1,000 tweets because he's, oh my God, if you knew who this guy was. Anyway, Biden's new action runs contrary to his pledge to unite and heal political divisions in the country as tens of millions of law-abiding, notice the two words that I put together there and they put together there, law-abiding gun owners will rightly see his actions as an assault on their freedoms. In the statement, the administration also renewed the call for banning so-called assault weapons, which is a made-up term that refers to semi-automatic long guns, which essentially function the same way as pistols, meaning that a shot is fired every time the trigger is pulled. The administration also again called for Congress to repeal gun manufacturers' immunity from liability, which pro-Second Amendment advocates say is a blatant attempt to bankrupt the gun industry. Now, here's something interesting, because that's the one that would really destroy some companies. They're going to say, oh, well, the gun company is liable for how someone used your product, right? So you go out and buy a gun or pistol for protection or whatever, or even a hunting rifle, and somebody steals your hunting rifle and shoots somebody with it, then they want to be able to sue the gun manufacturer for the person who stole your rifle and killed somebody else with it. And so creating liability for the gun company. So then the gun companies would have to buy amazing amounts of insurance, and then the insurance industry would get rich because they give a lot of money to Democrats anyway. And then the prices of guns would go up so much that, people who are the poor who are most affected by these taxes, because they wouldn't be able to afford to buy legal guns to protect themselves from the people who would shoot them with the stolen or illegal gun. Did that make sense? I don't know if that was a little rant there. So anyway, so the criminals will be able to still get their guns, but and I look. The funny thing, the AR-15 thing being a assault weapon.
That's right. Line dog for his pony show.
Whoops. I hit too many buttons there, but those were all kind of appropriate. I'm not a gun person, but I do know the fact that Chauncey, exactly. So automaker is responsible for the car attack on the Capitol. Oh, what car attack on the Capitol? No, there was no car attack on the Capitol. Oh, I don't even remember what they're talking about. I don't hear anything in the news about that anymore because well, never mind. I don't want to go there. Good morning, Anna Lynn. PDawgKnight, World War I, get Guerrer 98 bolt action is just as deadly as an AR-15, if not more. Oh, or thinking of there's all kinds of weapons. You laugh because, well, never mind. There are so many more powerful rifles. Now, granted, here's the other thing. Rifles as a category only account for it's some ridiculously low percentage of any kind of gun deaths, including suicides, including murders, including, whatever. Accidental deaths, whatever. Rifles barely scratch the surface. Now, a lot of people want to say, oh my gosh, all these mass shootings were AR-15s. No, they weren't. The most deadly mass shooting was it Virginia Tech? That guy was killing people. That was pistols. And almost all of them illegal guns. Not a single member of the NRA, I can guarantee you that, or even Gun Owners of America. So they're basically making it harder for legal gun owners to own weapons. Whatever, I know this is an American thing, so some of you may have disagreements. But now let's talk about Mr. Chipman, though. Chipman, Biden's nominee to lead the ATF, pushed dubious claim about the Waco siege to call for blanket ban on assault rifles. Now, this is another one that's kind of strange. So let's just read the whole article. The gun control activist who President Joe Biden is expected to nominate to lead the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. Oh, I forgot they added explosives to the ATF. Claimed last year that members of the Branch Davidian sect shot down 2 helicopters during a standoff with federal agents in Waco in 1993. Now, that's a conspiracy theory, but whatever. David Chipman, the expected nominee, posted the comments as part of a Reddit Ask Me Anything event. He also called for tighter gun control measures, including restricting gun sales only to licensed gun stores and a ban on the manufacture and sale of so-called assault rifles. You know what's fascinating? You know, they had that thing about, oh, you could just buy, anyone could just buy a gun over the internet. No, you can't. Yeah, you can pay for it over the internet, but you have to go through a licensed gun store to collect it, and you have to go through the federal background check to collect it, and you have to go to that, you have to go physically to a licensed gun store to go collect that gun that you bought over the internet. They don't just ship it to your house like Amazon. You can't go on Amazon. Hey, I need a 30-06. Here's one on Amazon. Click and ship. 2 days later, got my 30-06. No, that ain't how it works. If you buy a gun over the internet, it has to go through a federally licensed store that will run the federal background check, and you have to pick it up in that store with ID.
That's racist!
All this stuff with the gun laws, all it does is make it easier for rich people to buy guns and poor people not to buy guns. Now, maybe, who knows? Is that what they're saying? We should just not let poor people buy guns anymore? Because that's what you're doing there, Joe. You're making it harder for people of color to buy legal weapons. That's very, all gun control is racist, by the way. Oh my gosh. Ask Maj Touré. Who's the other dude that's the NRA guy? I can't remember. Anyway. So Biden is expected to announce Chipman's nomination on Thursday, which was yesterday, or no, that's today, during an event where he'll lay out a series of executive actions aimed at reducing gun violence. Well, no, he's not reducing gun violence. None of these actions will reduce gun violence. Gun violence generally doesn't happen with people who have buying legal guns. At least, all these, the gun violence that's increasing in this country right now, mostly illegal guns. So if they want to reduce gun violence, go get rid of the illegal guns. Thank you, Drew. Good morning, by the way, and thank you for sponsoring the show this morning with the 357. Appropriate for this time. And by the way, Drew,
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Drew says 90% of Democrats in Congress are lawyers. 75% of GOP in Congress are former business owners or military. Ever wonder why Obamacare and this gun executive order is to help ambulance chasing lawyers make more money? Oh, I didn't even make that connection. You are spot on, Drew, and thank you for sponsoring the show. Appreciate it. All right, Chipman currently serves as senior policy advisor to former Arizona Representative Gabby Giffords, who was nearly killed after being shot by a gunman at a campaign event in 2011. CNN described Chipman Wednesday as a fierce advocate for gun control. Oh, so he spends a lot of time at the range and teaches people how to shoot more accurately? Oh, that's not what that means. Chipman, who posted a photograph on a Reddit thread confirming his identity, commented on the Waco siege in response to a question from a participant who asked whether any crimes have been committed with 50 caliber Barrett rifles, which can be accurate up to thousands of feet from their target. Yeah, a whole lot of the 50 caliber Barrett sniper rifles are being used in grocery store robberies and in the hood when they have a drive-by, right? I don't think so. Chipman wrote, quote, at Waco, cult members used two .50 caliber Barretts to shoot down two Texas Air National Guard helicopters. Point, it is true, we are fortunate they are not used in crime more often or ever. Sorry, that was my own aside. The victim of drug lords in Mexico are not so lucky. America plays a role in fueling the violence south of the border. Well, of course they do when you got former attorney generals of the United States pushing selling guns in Mexico. Fast and Furious, anybody? Hello, TC. Holy shit. That's... America plays a role in fueling the violence south of the border. Yeah, got a couple of American agents killed with your program. Your little special program. While the Branch Davidians did reportedly shoot at and damage a trio of helicopters that were flown over their compound, none were shot down and no federal agents were injured. Huh. Sounds like a conspiracy theory. Although all of the three helicopters sustained damage from weapons fire, none of the National Guard crew or ATF on board were injured, reads a House report of an investigation into the siege that was released in August 2nd, 1996. 4 ATF agents and 82 Branch Davidians died during a 51-day standoff, which ended when the religious group compound was burned to the ground after an FBI team tried to rescue the children inside the building. There's a good movie on Netflix about that. I can't remember the name of it, but it's worth a check out. 25 children also died at the compound. They weren't thinking of the children. The House report said that the federal agents used the helicopters in hopes of distracting Branch Davidian members while a rescue team could gain entry to the compound. The report said that the helicopters flew within 350 feet of the building. Chipman, a former ATF special agent, called for other stringent restrictions on gun purchases in the AMA thread while acknowledging that he carries a concealed firearm himself. Well, isn't that special? In one post, Chipman said, quote, I believe all gun sales should be limited to licensed gun stores where a background check and paperwork is required. Wow. I wonder if he realizes that. Really? So the internet gun sales where you a background check and paperwork is required is no good, where you have to pick it up at a federally licensed gun store? He's talking person-to-person sales. See, they're trying to get you to do background checks for person-to-person sales. I don't even know if I'm 100% against that. I don't want to sell a weapon to someone who's, a criminal, murderer, or whatever, has illegal to sell a gun to. You are, and I think you would be liable if you illegally sold a gun to somebody that did a crime. I think there might be some liability in that. It's not the gun manufacturer's fault. It's your stupid fault if you do that. But I don't know. I mean, anyway. He also said he supports a ban on production and sale of assault rifles. Oh, the undefined assault rifle, the scary ones with the weird magazines and the weird plastic parts that make it look even scarier. Yeah. By the way, if you're in like the Southwest, Texas, Arkansas, maybe New Mexico, not so much New Mexico, but if you're one of those people who has to, who have wild hog problems, AR-15 is probably the weapon of choice when you have hog problems, because they tend to run in groups and they're very destructive. And I know that a lot of people use AR-15s in the Southwest for that purpose. It has been estimated that there are around 15 million assault rifles currently in circulation. This is a quote from him. I believe we should ban the future production and sale to civilians and afford current owners of these firearms the ability to license these particularly guns with ATF under the National Firearms Act. Oh, yes, we were to register your firearm Get the fuck out of here. While Chipman supports those restrictions, he said that he sometimes carried a concealed firearms. For the general public, seeing a gun out in public is a little frightening. To me, living in fear is a harm that we should avoid. When I carry, I make sure it's concealed. I'm not trying to make some statement. Oh, so you're in favor of more relaxed concealed carry permits, are you? Ah, fantastic. I think those should be reciprocal across every state. Chipman could not be reached for comment. The Giffords organization did not respond to a request seeking comment. So anyway, what's this gentleman's first name? His name is David Chipman. FTG David Chipman with one N. There you go. FTG. Yeah, how about no? Exactly, Hig. All right. Let's move on. By the way, I'm going to do a little transition here, so just bear with me. I'll be right back. Hey everybody, it's me, Marty. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I hope you're enjoying the show. The Morning Night Live is sponsored by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Please, if you have a moment, take time to share this stream by hitting that little arrow down below or up here if you're on a mobile. And please hit the like button. I know you like it. You're still here and you're still watching. And finally, if you want to support the show, you can do that through your donations and super chats, which are in the description down below. You can do that at Streamlabs link or at PDawgKnight.live. That every little bit helps. And thank you for watching. Now back to the show. All right. Here's a guy that we can certainly say FTG to, but I really never heard about this guy being ended by police officers. I don't know if you've probably even heard this story, but this gentleman, or lack of gentleman, I should say, he's not a gentleman, man wanted for alleged incest and child abuse, killed in a police shootout. Graphic new body cam footage shows. Now, we're not going to show you the body cam footage of the ending of this man, but it's weird. I haven't heard about this story at all, that this man was killed by police. Huh? I don't understand. South Carolina police released body cam video Sunday showing a fatal officer-involved shooting in February that involved a man wanted for alleged incest and child abuse. Greenville County Sheriff deputies were serving active arrest warrants to William Clayton Blackwell. You might as well go ahead and get that FTG ready. Oh, hang on. William Clayton Blackwell on February 18th for second-degree criminal sexual conduct with a minor, third-degree criminal sexual conduct, incest, and child neglect, according to a public information officer of the Greenville County Sheriff's Office, Ryan Flood. As deputies approached the residence, Blackwell, 39, was allegedly seen with a gun. According to Flood, video footage shows one unidentified officer asking Blackwell to put his hands up. He's got a gun in his hand. One officer screams. Deputies lost track of Blackwell briefly when he retreated to the back of the home. Flood said moments later, Blackwell charged officers with a magazine-fed rifle, according to Flood. Drop the gun, and another deputy screams. Deputies immediately took cover and issued verbal commands with Blackwell appearing to fire one round. Video footage shows one deputy can be heard saying Blackwell is taking a prone position. As two officers take shelter behind a tree, multiple rounds are heard being fired off. Video footage from another responding deputy shows the officers firing shots toward the subject. Fearing for their safety, deputies fired at Blackwell, ultimately striking him in the process, Flood said, noting officers quickly surrounded Blackwell. Officers waited for K-9 units to arrive to ensure Blackwell no longer posed a threat before providing first aid to Blackwell until medical personnel arrived. Blackwell is taken to a local hospital where he later died. All deputies have been cleared at this time. So now, first of all, FTG Clayton Blackwell. William Clayton Blackwell. You can go straight to hell if you committed those things. I don't know. But first of all, clearly he shot a police. I haven't heard about this incident though. Police involved shooting usually makes national news. I just can't figure out. Let's see. Now, this is the South Carolina guy talking about. I'm going to mute this.
Investigators to conduct multiple interviews.
If you can watch this whole video on your own, so I'm like looking through this, I'm going, well, wait a minute. William Clayton Blackwell. Where is William Clayton Blackwell?
Concerning an officer involved.
And we're moving down here. This guy's still talking. Let's see here.
Oh, William Clayton Blackwell.
Oh,
the arrest warrants were for second and third degree criminal sexual conduct.
I guess that explains
incest and child neglect. Because
that explains it. Now, I thought for sure that they keep telling me that if it's a person deficient of militant content, he would automatically be taken alive and taken to Burger King. And apparently William Clayton Maxwell didn't make it to Burger King, which is, I could give a shit, FTG. But it's fascinating. Didn't hear about this officer involved shooting, guys, and the white guy's dead, and that usually doesn't happen. So this is kind of is this a man bites dog event? And I don't see any protests or anything, but anyway, fuck that guy. All right. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, this is weird. Now this guy that someone mentioned the assault at the Capitol, right? Was that on the screen? Yes, it was. Someone mentioned the assault at the Capitol, and I look, I could care less about Mr. Farrakhan. I don't think he's a great man, but some people like him, some people don't. I'm not a fan, okay? By the way, good morning. Why are you so angry? And check your logic. And Gen T, what's up? Nation of Islam calls the supporter who assaulted the U.S. Capitol a brother with such great potential. Well, I suppose everyone has great potential, I guess. Interesting. Good morning, Mr. Yes. Organization vows to find motive for attack, including mind control. This is the part that I find extra special. Mind control. What made him do it? Well, the mind control made him do it. This is fascinating. Let me fix this. Why can't I get this on the screen? Is it that large of a piece? Okay, let's make it smaller so you can see that if you want to follow along. There we go. The Nation of Islam said it is investigating. They have their own investigators. They are investigating what caused one of its followers to stage a deadly assault against U.S. Capitol Police last week, calling the deceased attacker a, quote, brother with such great potential. Yes, well, end quote. Yes, I think everybody has potential. Who could have been a star in the mission of the resurrection of our people. The group distanced itself from the attack by its supporter, Noah Green, saying it absolutely disavows this act that resulted in the senseless loss of life and indicated that it was looking into a number of potential explanations for what caused this, including mental illness, and depression. Green's own claims that his food was being poisoned and that he was under mind control. I am sure had Green been blessed to come through the crisis that he was going through, he would have been a star in the mission for of the resurrection of the people, said Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. We need to know what happened to our brother. I was going to speak in Farrakhan speak, but I've chosen not to. Green, a 25-year-old Nation of Islam supporter, killed Officer William Evans after ramming his car through a barrier at the Capitol on Friday. Green attacked a second officer with a knife before being shot and killed by police. The Nation of Islam described Green as a young man who struggled in his early life but overcame much as a student to graduate with a degree in finance. He had a wonderful, noble idea to help the black and brown people through his knowledge of finance. The organization added that our research is continuing into what happened to this young man, and we cannot rest until we find out what caused him to take a turn like this. We are saddened by the loss of this brother with such great potential. In all social media posts before the attack, Green claimed that he suffered multiple home break-ins, food poisoning, assaults, and unauthorized operations in the hospital. Mind control. Oh. Just a day after the attack, the Nation of Islam research arm promoted claims about the U.S. government engaging in mind control. Oh my God. Okay, just a second. What's his name again? His name is Nathan. What's his name? Noah Green. FTG Noah Green. I'm sorry. Just a day before the attack. Sidney Gottlieb was an American chemist. Oh, this is a quote. Sidney Gottlieb was an American chemist involved in the Central Intelligence Agency's assassination attempt and its mind control program known as Project MKUltra, wrote the Nation of Islam research group on Twitter. Farrakhan regularly calls Jews satanic and claims they control the media, finance, industry, and global politics. He has also described white people as potential humans who have not evolved yet. Good old Farrakhan. I don't even, how do you spell his name? Did I do that right? Good God. Where the hell is it? Did I spell it? Oh, yeah, I did spell it right. Oh, there's 2 R's. There we go. How about him too? Hi, Smarty Bear. Hi, Asian Research Directorate. No Asian jokes in the chat from now on, guys. All right. Anyway, FTG. Seriously, FTG. All right. Let's see what else here. Oh, and it's there is an article here though. And this is from the front page by who is this? John Perazzo. It's funny because this is one of those stories that the media seems to have already just whiffed on. They've kind of already said, it's just, it's not a white cop killing a black man. It's not a white guy doing all that Asian hate in all these cities where the Asian hate's happening. Who cares? It's just, who cares if the Nation of Islam racists killed a white cop, right? Last Friday, a 25-year-old Nation of Islam supporter. Now, here's the thing. I'm really reluctant to necessarily connect the Nation of Islam angle with this guy. He obviously probably was having other serious mental problems now, and I don't know why he would attack the U.S. Capitol of all places. Who knows if this was a death by cop thing? I don't know, but so a lot of outlets are specifically tying this to Nation of Islam. I don't think even the Nation of Islam wants this kind of attention. I don't think this is something that they would encourage. But if they did, it would happen, more often. It doesn't really, that's where my problem with them tying it to that. Now, the fact that he's part of Nation of Islam is a whole nother thing as far as, his ideology. But anyway, last Friday, a 25-year-old Nation of Islam supporter named Noah Green rammed his car into the barricade outside the U.S. Capitol, killing police officer William Evans and injuring another officer in the process, before Green himself was shot and killed by a cop at the scene. In stark contrast to now here's the part, though, that I'm talking about. In the sharp contrast to the countless lamentations by media outlets and elected Democrats that the people who stormed the Capitol building on January 6th were an undifferentiated pack of racists and white supremacists, Democrats and their left-wing allies have been remarkably uninterested in the element of race vis-a-vis Mr. Green and the white policeman he killed on Friday. Senator Chuck Schumer, for one, soberly claimed without reference to race to be heartbroken for the family and loved ones of the fallen officer. That's my Chuck Schumer voice. President Biden offers his heartfelt condolences to the Evans family, and Nancy Pelosi called Evans a martyr for our democracy. A far cry from her July 2020 statement comparing federal anti-riot police in Portland to Nazi stormtroopers. Why the sudden uncharacteristic reluctance to jump to stupid, uninformed conclusions about the motivations of a criminal perpetrator? The colossal hypocrites who run social media platforms have been similarly averse to wading into racial waters in their dealings with Noah Green. Consider Facebook, whose militant censors and fact-checkers have been so keenly on the lookout for messages conveying even the barest trace of support for hate, misinformation, or conspiracy theories promulgated by white conservatives. For some mysterious reason, those same censors were apparently asleep at the wheel when Mr. Green, as recently as March 17th, used his Facebook page to express his deep admiration for former Nation of Islam leader Elijah Muhammad. Neither did the censors object when Green again used Facebook on March 21st to describe Louis Farrakhan, who has been the Nation of Islam's principal leader for more than 40 years, as the man who can carry us through the dark hour. Nor did the censors balk when Green recently stated on Facebook that my faith is centered on the belief that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as Jesus, the Messiah, the fine divine reminder in our midst. Now, look, again, Farrakhan's a jackass, but if this guy wants to be I don't know that Facebook would be. Look, Farrakhan's has been banned from much social media just because of some of the things he does. But, whatever. But the Facebook censors' disinterest in Noah Green's love letters to Muhammad and Farrakhan is quite remarkable when one considers the type of rhetoric those men have been responsible for. Muhammad, for instance, once published a book claiming that the white race had originally come into existence through the efforts of a renegade scientist who grafted white people from a brown germ sometime around 4000 BC. The result of this ill-advised experiment, said Muhammad, was the birth of a morally tainted strain of humanity, white devils who would go on to devastate the world and oppress all other human beings, and whom God would someday destroy as a liberating Armageddon. This creation story was parlayed into the notion of black supremacy over an evil and murderous race of white arch-deceivers who should be barred from living alongside blacks. It is far more important to teach separation of the blacks and whites in America than a prayer, said Muhammad. Hate, misinformation, conspiracy theory. Facebook never accused Mr. Green of promoting such things when he was singing the praises of Elijah Muhammad. Look, I'm just gonna, again, Facebook's not gonna do that. They're just not. By the way, thank you, Scotty Dubs, for sponsoring the show. With the YouTube super chat saying there are just as many right-wing false flags as left-wing false flags. I believe a lot of these high-profile crimes are done by Manchurian candidates. Yeah, interesting. It could well be. I gotta tell you, they certainly are convenient to the narrative, if you know what I mean. It's funny. I laugh because so was it saying, like when so we had this thing about the anti-Asian hate and the Asian hate crimes, right? And then all of a sudden this guy in Atlanta shoots up kills 8 people, 6 of them Asian, of course. And it's funny because immediately there were some people saying, oh, this shit's Treadstone, man. This is Treadstone. I don't know. But yeah, or maybe we just have some messed up people who have nothing to do because they can't do anything because of the COVID restrictions in their states, and they're, going batshit crazy. Anyway, the point of this article is this guy said some other things on Facebook that probably would have got any right-winger band, so to speak. All right, let's move on. Update in the Chauvin trial. There's a great article. I'm not going to go through it, but I've been reading it. Chauvin trial day 8 states non-MPD use of force, not non-Minneapolis police force, or police department use of force experts save this prosecution. I've been reading this. I haven't watched the testimony, but I've been reading this description of the testimony of this what's his name, Andrew, okay, not Andrew Branca, they brought in a so-called expert witness on police use of force, and let's see, who is this guy they brought in? So the prosecution brought in this use of force expert, right? Paid him $10,000 plus another $3,000 in appearance fees. And what ended up happening is he ends up probably being a better witness for the defense than the prosecution. And like, let me give you an example of some of the problems with this guy had. First of all, this guy, Jody Steger, he's from the LAPD, right? And first of all, think of how big this trial is. Think of how important this trial is in the United States of America. Every eye in the country is watching this trial, or at least watching for the results of this trial, whether they're watching the trial itself or not. And in fact, around the world, they're watching this trial. And the prosecution brings in an expert witness on use of force, and this expert witness has never appeared in a trial as an expert witness before. This is his first trial as an expert witness on police use of force. Now, in a case this big, and you're the prosecution, you would think that someone who's going to be coming as your expert witness would be an expert. Now, not that he may or may not be an expert. We don't know. He submitted some papers that saying that he admitted, when he submitted some paperwork, his credentials and his assessment of this case, which was like 450 some pages long. Only 23 of the pages in this 453 piece that he submitted were his writings or his explanation of the case. The other pages of this were just the appendix were the rules. They put every piece of appendix, every page of the appendix of these 23 pages into the stack, so that would be 453 pages long. Another thing, what's funny, he didn't even, some of the questions they were asking, he hadn't looked up some of the rules. He just was going, and he referenced, for example, he also referenced a Supreme Court case that when they went through the Supreme Court case, it completely contradicted some of the things that the prosecution was asking him. So he made these, the prosecution said, okay, so here's the 3 points that you think of when you that are required when you're going to use a force. Well, 3 of the points, not just 3 points. There's a long list of things that you should consider when you're using use of force, but they only highlighted 3 of them. And so when the defense comes back and asks him about, well, they said there were 3 points. Well, aren't there several other factors? And so anyway, this witness ended up being a better witness for the defense than it did for the prosecution. And it's just fascinating. It's way too long to go through, but I strongly suggest you you read this. It's a fascinating look at how this witness probably won't work. Probably won't work. Did I even give you the right one? I don't know. Anyway, another article. This is what I'm going to go through. This guy who held in the Capitol riot. Remember the Capitol riot? The insurrection, the fake insurrection, with all the weapons that they were shooting into the chamber. Yeah, they weren't shooting in the chamber. There's only one shot fired in this whole thing, and it killed one of the protesters. Man held for Capitol riots alleges he was beaten by jail guards, was severely beaten by correctional officers, is now blind in one eye, has a skull fracture, and a detached retina. What? Unlike BLM and Antifa mobs that rioted and burned their way through America's cities for much of the last year, many of the people involved in the Capitol riot of January 6th are sitting in jail. One man is being held, even claims he was beaten by jail guards. According to Politico, Capitol riot defendant alleges beating by jail guards. Tensions are running high between guards and inmates at a D.C. jail housing many of the defendants in January 6 cases, with at least one of those prisoners alleging that he was brutally beaten by correctional officers. For weeks, Capitol riot defendants being held in Washington have complained that they are locked in their cells with virtually no human contact for 23 hours a day, but a startling graphic account offered publicly in court on Tuesday by one such inmate, Ronald Sandlin, went further, alleging that guards have subjected those charged in the January 6th events to violence, threats, and verbal harassment. Myself and others involved in the January 6th incidents are scared for their lives, not from each other, but from correctional officers, Sandlin said during a bail hearing conducted by a video before U.S. District Court Judge Dabney Friedrich. I don't understand how this is remotely acceptable, he added, saying he was being subjected to mental torture. In an unusual direct plea to the judge, Sandlin, another Capitol riot defendant, Ryan Samsel, was severely beaten by correctional officers, is now blind in one eye, has a skull fracture, and a detached retina. Last night, Tucker Carlson did an extended monologue about this and noted that the two girls who just killed someone in D.C. carjacking probably will see less jail time. That's for sure, because they just did a plea bargain, and so both of them will be out, will be released when they're 21. They plea bargained guilty when they killed that guy. Felony murder. Remember that term, felony murder? They'll be out when they're 21, which, you know what, look, 13 and 15-year-olds, I'm so torn. Tried as adults, but plea bargain to both be out by the time they're 21. That's for a 13-year-old girl, that's 8 years in prison. 6 years in prison for the 15-year-old. That's got it. Oh my God, what a way to ruin your freaking life. But anyway. Left-wing DAs and Democrats all over the country are actively letting people out of jail supposedly because of COVID, but there will be no mercy for these folks. Credit to Politico for coverage of January 16th investigation. For weeks, Capitol riot defendants being held in Washington have complained that they are locked in their cells with virtually no human contact for 23 hours a day. That's the Politico article. In fact, I'll put the Politico. Oops, did that work? Yes. I'll have the Politico article in the links down below after this show. So these are just tweets about the same thing that I just said. But anyway, I don't even know who to FTG for that. I really don't. So we'll figure it out later. Thank you. Always lost on nothing else with the 749 and always lost on nothing else.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Thank you so much. Donation 300. I bet you $10 Biden can spell infrastructure without the teleprompter. Never mind. You win. You know, I think he would start spelling it, and at about the second R, he would forget what he was spelling. That's my personal opinion.
Come on, man.
Anyway, all right. All right, let's move on. I'm out of time. Holy crap. Well, let me just tell you what else is here. Best devotional. This one, I have to do this one. Should I finish on this? Let's see what else I got here. I got all kinds of stuff left. Oh my gosh, I have so much that I had. Oh well, we're gonna finish with this one, and I'll just leave. You can check out with the other tabs later. Okay, before I even click this, hello, Fight for Your Rights. Before I even click this, y'all are gonna want to gird your loins. Y'all are gonna want to sit down, take a sip of coffee, take a sip now. By the way, this would be a good time to click the like button if you haven't already done it while I'm just stalling. Before I click this, because I want you to hold on to yourself, especially if you are melanin deficient. You may want to hold on to yourself here. You know what devotionals are? You know, little devotional books. You know, those little, you know what they are, right? The little devotional books. Well, I'm just telling you, be careful. There's a new best-selling devotional book that has a prayer to help me hate some white people. Oh my, how far we have come since Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Sometimes I'm not so sure. While our society has made tremendous progress toward the idea that all men are created equal, anti-whiteness seems to be all the rage these days. It kind of is, isn't it? That's kind of weird, I think. And that is no less racist than hating anyone of any other color. Yet in the book, A Rhythm of Prayer, a collection of meditations for renewal, there is a prayer called Prayer of a Weary Black Woman that asks God to, quote, help me hate white people, end quote. Dear God, please help me hate white people, or at least want to hate them. At least I want to stop caring about them individually and collectively. I want to stop caring about their misguided, racist souls, to stop believing that they can be better, that they can stop being racist. The book, published in February, was a New York Times bestseller. Wow! The offending prayer was written by Chiniqua Walker Barnes, PhD. How did she get a PhD in this racist society? According to her bio, she is a theologian and a psychologist. Maybe she should go sit in her own chair. And her mission is to serve as a catalyst for healing, justice, and reconciliation. So, wanting to hate white people serves that mission, really? On Saturday, one of the members of my church sent me these images of a devotional she found in Target. This kind of thinking is a direct result of critical race theory and is completely anti-biblical. I shared the first page on Saturday, but let me now share the whole thing for context. So let's see. Let's take a quick look before I'm sorry. This kind of shit cracks me up. Yeah. Now I'm sure somewhere in here, she's going to flip the script somewhere. But the first lines, please help me hate white people, or at least to want to hate them. At least I want to stop caring about them individually and collectively. Yes, that's the part that maybe she's right. Maybe you need to stop caring and not worry about Don't stop worrying about people's class, because every individual is a little bit different. Anyway, I want them to stop caring about their misguided racist souls, to stop believing that they can be better, that they can stop being racist. I'm not talking about the white anti-racist allies who have taken up this struggle against racism with their whole lives. The ones who stand vigil for weeks outside jails where black women are killed. What? Talk about, okay, outside jails where black women are killed. Man bites dog events. Is this an epidemic? Is this something that's happening every day? Oh, you mean Sandra Bland, who hung herself in jail? That's now they say there's some controversy. She may not have. She may whatever. I don't know. The investigation said she wasn't killed. She killed herself. But are we hearing? Oh, good lord, my head hurts. What's her name? It's here. Just ChaneQua. Okay, I didn't get that right, but there's an E in there somewhere. Those who taken up the struggle against racism their whole lives, the ones who stand in vigil for weeks outside jails where black women are killed, rarely. I mean, we're talking less than lightning strikes, and combined with someone getting killed by a nail gun, the combined odds of that, this happens, who show up in Charlottesville and Ferguson and Baltimore and Pasadena to take public stand against racism and police brutality. Oh, good God. She obviously didn't read the transcript to the Mike Brown case, who are so committed to fighting white supremacy that their own lives bear the wounds of its scars. No, those aren't the people I want to hate. I'm not even talking about the ardent racists either, the strident segregationists who mow down nonviolent anti-racist protesters, who open fire on black churchgoers, who plot acts of racial terrorism hoping to start a race war. Those people are already in hell. There's no need to... Does this continue? There's no need to waste hatred on them. Real quick, thank you, Lamented Guide. This story is going to make my blood pressure spike. There's nothing in this world I despise more than when people turn my faith into a political weapon. Fuck those people who made that devotional. Right? Also, thank you, Selected Boy!
Yeah, boy!
With the super chat, who says, as the saying goes, any idiot can write a book, even if it's a New York Times bestseller, right? Thank you very much. My prayer is that you would help me to hate the other white people. You know, the nice ones. The what's that say? The Fox News loving, Trump supporting voters who don't see color, but who make thinly veiled racist comments about those people. The people who are happy to have me over for dinner, but alert the neighborhood watch anytime an unrecognized person of color passes their house. Okay. The people who welcome black people into the churches and small groups, but brand us as heretics if we suggest that Christianity is concerned with the poor and the oppressed. No one calls you a heretic for saying that Christianity is concerned with the poor and oppressed. What they're concerned about is when you think the government is what Christianity was talking about. No, the Christianity doesn't mean the government, that you go to Herod and have Herod take care of the poor and the oppressed. No, the government, you let the government do what it does, and you are supposed to take care of the poor and oppressed. You are supposed to sacrifice. Jesus didn't say, well, let's give your money to Herod and make Herod take care of everybody. That's not what Jesus said. Jesus said, you go out and do what you need to do. So that's the heretic part. No, they didn't ask. Good God. No pun intended. Hello, Michael Hatfield. Good Lord. That's just, oh my God. What else did he say? The people who politely tell us that we can leave when we call out the racial microaggressions we experience in their ministries. And you talk about white fragility. Microaggressions, shit you make up just to, it makes me feel uncomfortable. You know what? Oh, good Lord. I don't care. But since I don't have many relationships with people like that, perhaps they are not a good use of hatred either. Lord, grant me then the permission and desire to hate the white people who claim the progressive label, but who are really wolves in sheep's clothing. Those who learned enough history, read enough books, spend enough time in other countries to make themselves seem knowledgeable, even though that knowledge remains far removed from their hearts. Those who unexamined white supremacy bubbles up at times. I'm not expecting it when I have my guard down and my something here. My heart open. Lord, if you can't make me hate them, at least spare me from their perennial gaslighting, white mansplaining, and white women tears. Lord, if it be your will, harden my heart. Stop me from striving to see the best in people. Stop me from being hopeful that white people can do and be better. Let me imagine them instead as white-hooded robes standing in front of a burning crosses. Let me see them as hopelessly unrepentant, reprobate bigots who have been who's blasphemed the Holy Spirit and who need to be handed over to the evil one. Let me be like Jonah, unwilling for my enemies to change, or like Lot, able to walk away from them and their sinfulness without trying to call them to repentance. Let me stop seeing them as members of the same body. Free me from this burden of calling them to confession and repentance. Grant me a get out of judgment free card if I make white people the exception to your commandment to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But I will trust you, my Lord. You have kept my love and my hope steadfast even when they have trampled on it. You have rescued me from the monsters of racism when it sought to devour me. You have lifted me up my head when it was low and healed my heart when it was wounded. You have not given me up to slavery or to Jim Crow or to the systems of structural oppression, but you have called me to be an agent in your ministry of justice and reconciliation, and you have not allowed me to languish alone, but you have lighted the path towards beloved community with the loving witness of the ancestors, elders, and sojourners who have come before me and who stand with me today. Thus, in the spirit of Fanny and Ida and Polly and Ella and Septima and Coretta, I pray and I press on in love. She finishes with amen, but she forgot the a women. Okay, Dr. Shaniqua Walker Barnes is a clinical psychologist who needs a psychologist, womanist, theologian, ecumenical minister whose work focuses upon healing the legacies of racial and gender oppression. PhD, by the way. I wonder how the hell she got a PhD. She's oppressed. How do you get a PhD when you're oppressed? Especially in clinical psychology, which you need. You need Jesus, woman. That's what you need. The author of I Bring the Voices of My People, a womanist vision for racial reconciliation, and Too Heavy a Yoke, Black Women and the Burden of Strength. She currently serves as Associate Professor of Practical Theology at Mercer University. God, this woman is teaching people. Good Lord. She was ordained by an independent fellowship that holds incarnational theology, community engagement, and social justice, and prophetic witness as its core values. Holy shit. FTG Shaniqua. By the way, I noticed someone put women's studies there. Just a reminder, if you're... Oh, thank you, Select a Boy, for another super chat there. Funny, that book makes her in the New York Times racist, and she doesn't realize it. Yeah, right? I gotta tell you. Anyway, holy God, good God. Yeah, we're going to finish on that high note. By the way, if you are a university student who catches this show and you have a major that ends in the word studies, I strongly suggest that you start. Oh, hang on. Before I do this, thank you, Gamer Valine, through a super chat, sponsoring the show. Thank you. Who says, "Oh wow, Harley Quinn is real. The crazy one is running the asylum. What's the over under on the committed rate for her patients?" Boy, I don't know if she practices as. She says she's a clinical psychologist and women theologian, but she's a professor. She teaches. So those who cannot do often teach. All right, let me finish my thought here, and then I got to go. Students, bit of advice. If you have a major in college, listen carefully. If you have a major in college that ends in the word studies, I have a piece of advice for you. Start studying menus. Just saying. And on that note, people, thank you for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. We are here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 1500 GMT. And before you go, hit the like button if you haven't already done it. Also, please share the stream out on social media using the arrow down there, or you can follow me on pretty much any social media at PDawgKnight, except for Instagram, where I am, yes, that Marty. Also, if you want to get a Resist Faucism cup or shirt or hat or whatever, there's a couple items in there. You can go to PDawgKnight.live, hit the merch link, and that's where they're sold. Hey, I gotta go. Thanks for being here. I'm already late. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.